Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevron here and welcome back to Friday Night Magic. This week we are going to be playing my latest iteration of Grixis Control. As you can see here, Grixis 3.0. For those of you that are interested in such, here is the Speed Strength Control Synergy rating given by Magic Duels. Let's go ahead and look at what we're running. Alright, right off the bat you may see something that's a bit unusual for Grixis Control, and that is we're running an Oath of Chandra. The reason we are running this is it is removal. It's an enchantment, not an instant or sorcery, so there is a bit of a downside to that as we are running Dynavolt Towers in this deck, but I think the upside more than makes up for that. And that is the additional value you can get when a Planeswalker enters the battlefield under your control. Then Oath of Chandra deals 2 damage to each opponent. Now this only triggers once. Even if you cast 15 Planeswalkers, it will only deal 2 damage one time that turn, but this helps us to pressure our opponent's life total and also deal with opposing Planeswalkers, as you can redirect this damage to their Planeswalkers. We're also running 3 Telling Time to help smooth out our draws, find what we need in the appropriate time frame, and generate energy with our Dynavolt Towers. We're running 2 Grasp of Darkness. This may be another slightly odd thing to some of you, in that we're running Grasp of Darkness and not running Fatal Push. Well, the reason we're doing that is we don't have a tremendous amount of ways to trigger Revolt in this deck, and my testing has shown Grasp to just be better than Fatal Push in this list. We're also running 3 Harnessed Lightning. The reason we're running 3 of the Lightning and only 2 Grasp is Harnessed Lightning's just a better removal spell. It can kill things that have bigger than 3 toughness if we happen to have more energy, and also it's a lot easier to cast as it only requires 1 red as opposed to 2 black when you're casting it. Then Dynavolt Tower, our recursive value engine, generating us energy and dealing damage to creatures, players, and redirecting to Planeswalkers. Yes indeed, Oath of Liliana, running one of those as well. It is removal, just like Oath of Chandra, helps us deal with things that we couldn't otherwise, things that are hex-proof, so on and so forth. And we can eke out a little bit of additional value, as if we cast a Planeswalker, we get a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Again, just like Oath of Chandra, we can cast 15 Planeswalkers, we will only ever get the 1 black zombie. Also running 2 Scatter to the Wind. Counterspells are a necessity in a deck like this. There are threats and things that you just cannot deal with through removal. The answer to those are simply countering them. Probably the best removal in Magic Duels, just as it is in Standard Magic right now. Unlicensed Disintegration. For 3 mana, we destroy target creature, and if we control an artifact, deal 3 damage to that creature's controller. Arguably, 1 black and 1 red is easier to cast than 1 2 black. So, Unlicensed Disintegration, even if it didn't deal the extra 3 damage, in my book would get the nod over Murder. We are running Liliana, the Last Hope, who does a great job at controlling the board, recurring our creatures, though admittedly we aren't running that many. And also her emblem does a great job at just demolishing the opponent. The first of our creatures is Kalitas, Traitor of Ghet, who does a great job of gaining us life, exiling the opponent's non-token creatures and making us black zombies, and growing should we need to. Our card draw of choice in the deck are Glimmer of Geniuses, of course, as they also make energy of their own at instant speed, so this synergizes very well with our Dynavolt Towers and other energy-themed things. Again, maybe a controversial choice, but I have tried Yahenni's expertise in this slot as well, and we so seldom want to cast a free spell with Yahenni's expertise that in my book the extra -1/-1 is just worth running Languish. Also running Chandra, Torch of Defiance. She does a great job at generating incremental value. She can exile the top card of our library. We can play that or pressure the opponent's life total or planeswalkers, again, just like her Oath does. She can accelerate us by making mana, and she can kill creatures. Pretty good in my book. If we ever do get to emblem her, that emblem machine guns the opponent down very quickly. 5 damage for each spell you play is nothing to sneeze at. Next creature we're running is a Disciple of the Ring. This girl is incredible in any deck running a large number of instants or sorceries. For 5 mana, we have a 3/4, and by paying 1 and exiling an instant or sorcery from our graveyard, we get to do a tremendous number of things, whatever the situation calls for, one might say. Also running a Singleton Confirmed Suspicions. This brings our total of counter magic in the deck up to 3. 5 is expensive for a counter spell, but this not only counters spells, but allows us to investigate 3 times, netting us additional value. And should you ever flash back Confirmed Suspicions with a Torrential Gearhulk, which we will see in a minute, then that is pretty much infinite value for you. Also running 2 Dark Intimations for 2, a blue, a black, and a red. This card is just a ton of value rolled into a tight little package. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, then discards a card. Then we get to return a creature or planeswalker from our graveyard to our hand and draw a card. This bottom text just doesn't exist yet for all practical purposes. There are no Bolas planeswalkers yet, either in Magic Duels or in Standard Magic the Gathering. There is a Bolas planeswalker from many years ago, but that is not relevant to us. We are also running Jace, Unraveler of Secrets, who generates card advantage, controls the board via bounce, and whose emblem is very good, especially versus control players. Also running Ob Nixilis. As always, there is kind of a theme to our planeswalkers here. They control the board, they draw cards, and they have an ultimate that outright wins us the game in most circumstances. Ob Nixilis is no exception to that. Then we're into a few more creatures. Torrential Gearhulk, massive body for 6 mana at instant speed that allows us to get additional value out of our already used instants and sorceries. That allows us to get additional value out of our already used or discarded instants. And Noxious Gearhulk, giving us an evasive body of reasonable size while dealing with a creature that is troubling us and gaining us life. Can't ask for much more. And finally, the big Chandra Flamecaller. For 6 mana, we have a planeswalker that ends the game extremely fast with 2 1/1 red elemental tokens with haste every turn, or allows us to discard our hand and draw 1 more card than what we had, and the ability to sweep the board should we need it. Our mana base is as follows: 3 Island, 5 Swamp, 2 Mountain, 2 Wandering Fumarole, 2 Smoldering Marsh, 2 Sunken Hollow, 2 Drowned Catacomb, 2 Dragonskull Summit, 3 Aether Hub, and 3 Evolving Wilds. Mana bases are something that we have been talking about a bit lately. If you are curious as to how I build my mana bases, I have got a video up that went up last Friday. I will put a link to that on the screen and in the description if you would like to check that out and see how to better build mana bases. But without further ado, let's play some games. Alright, this hand is more than fine. We've got removal, we've got card draw. Hopefully that will help us hit our land drops if we can hit the 4th one to cast the Glimmer, and then we've got a Planeswalker. We will definitely be keeping this. Alright, opponent leading off on an Evolving Wilds there. We are always happy to see a slow start from the opponent. Gives us time to set up our game plan. And Swamp really doesn't tell us anything. They could be on any number of strategies, fetching for a basic Swamp. Alright, looks like they are passing back to us. And we hit a land. That is perfectly fine. We're going to be leading off on Dragonskull Summit. That will make it possible for us to cast Harness Lightning next turn, should we need to. If they don't present us a threat, we may just play the Drowned Catacombs, although playing the island will allow the Drowned Catacombs to come into play untapped the next turn. Servo schematic. Looks like we are... Mountain. We are up against an Artifacts Matters deck, probably with some number of improvised cards in the deck. We're not really concerned about the servo there. And if they untap and play Tezzeret's Touch, we're not really able to deal with it, even with a Harnessed Lightning. But we'll go ahead and play our island out, just in case they do play something that we want to harness. Liliana is likely to be good this game as well, keeping their servos in check. There is the Tezzeret's Touch we mentioned. So we're going to kill this with a Harness Lightning, and that will allow us to kill this next turn. Since they're tapped out, we're just going to go ahead and kill this, spending just 1 energy. And when we kill this, they will get the servo schematic back. Tezzeret's Touch. When the artifact is put into a graveyard, return that card to its owner's hand. Then, we're going to go ahead and play our Drowned Catacomb. Now, we could play Lily and just shrink this. It wouldn't be able to kill Liliana, though it could put her to 1. I personally don't think that that's a very good plan, and we're going to go ahead and do this while they're tapped out so that we can have no possibility of shenanigans. We need to spend all of our energy. They'll be for sure able to generate another servo. A second Tezzeret's Touch would also be very bad for us. Though they don't really have a blue source yet, they spent their energy with the Aether Hub to cast that first Tezzeret's Touch, so they would need... Well, that will fix it. I was going to say they would need a way to generate energy or a blue mana source. Alright. Second servo for the opponent. And an Implement of Combustion. That does a good job at keeping our Planeswalkers in check to some extent. We'll be going down to 14. See what we draw. Disciple of the Ring. Interesting. As I said, another Tezzeret's Touch would be very bad for us. However, taking 6 damage would also be very bad for us, or 7, as the case may be. So, I think we're going to go ahead and Liliana here. And get rid of one of those servos. Then, if they spend their turn taking care of Liliana, that will at least absorb some damage for us. Implements of Combustion, going to deal a damage to Lily. Also draw them a card. Hopefully that card is not Tezzeret's Touch. Walking Ballista. Well, that would certainly allow them to deal with Lily, though it would involve getting rid of the Ballista. May be worth it to them. I would be very tempted to do that were I in their shoes. We would love to draw a land here. One that comes into play untapped. Yep, they are going to sacrifice their Ballista to deal with Liliana. If we don't draw a land, we will probably just Glimmer in an attempt to hit lands. But luckily we did draw a land, so we're going to play that. Then we're going to play Jace. And we could bounce this servo, but 1 damage isn't going to be the end of the world. So we are going to tick him up. And that's fine. I would very much like to have another land drop. We have 2 instants in the graveyard, so that is fodder for Disciple of the Ring should we need to cast her. Right, trying to keep our Jace in check. 1 damage a turn is not going to be enough to do that, however. Alright, Dynavolt Tower, excellent. Let's tick Jace up again. Try to bury our opponent in Planeswalker advantage. We do want Chandra. We will play this island. And we can either play Chandra or play Dynavolt. And we'll still be able to play Telling Time. I think just getting Chandra down and starting to put an enormous clock on the opponent is very valuable. So, let's do that. Luckily they did not have a counterspell, so awesome for us. And swing for 6. Chandra does end games very quickly. Torrential Gearhulk, so they will be able to deal with one of these Planeswalkers. Guess they don't have anything to flash back, and they don't. Probably killing Chandra and dealing 1 damage to Jace. Nope, killing Jace. Okay. Alright, let's see what we can do. Well, we can wipe the board. Let's see if that's possible. Probably should Dynavolt, and we don't want to tap our black mana to do that. We will grasp this Gearhulk. Looks like that is going to resolve. And then we will -2 on Chandra and wipe their side of the board. That's a pretty good turn for us. Alright. They are making land drops. They have said that's enough. We will continue playing. First off, we are going to make some elementals and smash face. Gotta love Big Chandra. One of my favorite Planeswalkers of the last couple of years. Well, they put Chandra to 1 and prevented 3 damage there. Let's go ahead and Fumarole. And we could play Disciple of the Ring, planning to end the game next turn if they have no removal. I think that's probably our best play here. Also gives us at least a modicum of counter magic for non-creature spells. We only have 1 mana to activate Disciple, but just 1 more threat that they need to deal with while they're on the back foot here. Implement of Combustion, well, that will be killing Chandra. Very glad I did play the Disciple of the Ring, since that gives us a means to deal damage now. Alright, bye-bye to Chandra. She did an excellent job. Going to our turn. Oath of Chandra. Let's see. We have 3 instants, so we could activate Fumarole. That would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could pump her twice. Or we can just swing, which is what I think I'm going to do, and then hold up everything else. Alright, putting the opponent to 8, and we'll just go ahead and pass. Right, Aether Hub for the opponent. Anything else forthcoming? Seems like the answer may be no, though the AI does like to go to second main phase to cast things most of the time. Well, we are going to use our Aether Hubs, please. There we go. Torrential Gearhulk. I actually want both of these. We do want to continue to make land drops. Then we'll go ahead and play Telling Time as well. We'll take the Harnessed Lightning and the Kalitas. And, oh, well, didn't manage to pause there. We could have dealt 3 damage on their instep and then untapped Harnessed Lightning for energy and dealt 3 more, but I don't think it's going to be entirely necessary, so let's swing. Looks like they don't have any responses, so let's pump this girl up. Here we go. Go ahead and do it again. That's fine. Pump her up to 5. Alright, and then deal the last 3 with Dynavolt Tower. And I will see you guys in the next game. Alright. This is not a great hand. We don't have any early removal. We don't really have anything going on till turn 3, and the opponent's playing first, so I think we need to mulligan this. This is not any better. In fact, it's worse. So, yeah, we will take this. At least we do have a turn 2 play, which could help us find other gas. We will lead on the Drowned Catacomb, saving our Evolving Wilds for a bit later. Probably going to need to fetch a second black source with it, but we will wait and see. Alright, looks like we are up against a potential mill deck with the Sanitarium there and the blue-red colors showing. Let's go ahead and play our swamp so we don't need to fetch a second black source now. As I said, we're not in good shape this game, especially if they play a land and then just slam a Sphinx's Tutelage here. We will probably just lose. Well, there's the land. We see Sphinx's Tutelage. If not, then that helps quite a bit as we can hold up counter magic for that. Let's go ahead and Telling Time. Alright, I'm not at all convinced that we need all this removal, but as we have 3 lands in hand already, we'll just go ahead and take those and bottom the mountain. And we need counter spells online, so we will play our island. And now against any other deck, except what we're probably up against, I would be very happy with this hand. As it is, I'm quite worried. Alright, looks like they're having everyone loot. A Telling Time. I am going to pitch Harnessed Lightning. Looks like they're pitching Fiery Temper, so we'll be taking 3 to the face. We do not want to counter that. That is if they choose to cast it. Alright, Fiery Temper will be going to 17. They may be on the burn plan this game. Let's go ahead and Telling Time once again. Alright, Dynavolt Tower is something I'm in the market for, as is Glimmer of Genius, so we'll put the Dynavolt in our hand and Glimmer on top. Really can't let our shields down yet. Let's play that Evolving Wilds out. I think now is about the time to start fetching. What would be great for us is if they tried to resolve something like that and then we countered it. Makes me feel a lot better about letting our shields down for a minute. Let's go ahead and sacrifice this. We'll get a second red source. We will need that eventually. And there is Big Chandra. So do we let our guard down now? They're not very likely to be playing a large number of creatures, so I think resolving Dynavolt is probably a good prospect here. Alright. Right, there's the Sphinx's tutelage I was afraid of. So now we're in a bit of a mess, especially if their hand's full of card draw. So we need to put on some pressure and put it on fast. Chandra is excellent at doing just that, so let's hope that she is enough. You want to kill one of these? Looks like they do. Just discarding a Bedlam Reveler. That sends a signal to me that we're in better shape than I previously thought we were. If they're willing to Lightning Axe and discard Bedlam Reveler, they are a bit afraid of the damage that we're outputting here. So, mill incoming. Just hit 2, that's good. Confirm suspicions in a hub. Disperse on Chandra. Okay. I mean, we have to cast her again, but you haven't got counter magic up, so that's not really an issue. Definitely not going to take time off to cast any of these when we've got her in our hand. Right, here comes another 6. Let's hope we can get there. Right, another mill incoming. Just 2 again, great for us. Milling a lot of lands. Pour over the pages is going to give more card draw for them, more mill for them as well on our library. So at minimum, 6 here. Okay, 2 on the first one. 4 on the second, that's bad. 2 on the last one. And a second tutelage, that is also horrible. Even as it sits, we could just be dead on their turn if they have enough card draw to do it with the 2 tutelages out now. Nothing for it though, but to keep bashing. Right, attack. We also could, after damage is dealt, grasp one of these to give us enough energy with the Glimmer to activate Dynavolt once. Which is not enough to kill them, so I don't think there's a reason to do that. Alright, minimum 4 here. There's 2. 2 more, good. Is one of the benefits of playing a 3-color deck. It's harder for Sphinx's tutelage to get multiple mills on you. Bedlam Reveler is bad too. Alright. Minimum 12. This could just kill us. Alright. No double hits yet. Still. Alright, this last one would have to be horrible for us to lose on it. Please no Cathartic Reunion. Take inventory, okay. See. Alright, and we should win this game. Unlicensed. And actually, I could have done that If I had paid attention to my lands correctly, I was too caught up in watching things mill. I could have killed them in response to all that mill with double unlicensed disintegration. That is my bad. We were in a better situation than I previously had thought. So, alright, close game, but we emerge victorious, and I will see you guys. And it looks like, there we go, I will see you guys in the next one. Again, this hand is kind of weak. We have nothing going on until turn 3. Our mana is also not very good in this hand, so we're going to mulligan. And this is better. We will definitely keep this. We do need blue, but our Harnessed Lightning gives us at least an answer. As does Grasp of Darkness, so we'll lead off with Dragonskull Summit. Right, well, we have an answer for that Smuggler's Copter, so that makes me happy. Graphical glitch there. There we go, just fix it like that. Alright, Swamp, we do need to start drawing some blue mana. Otherwise, this decent hand is going to quickly become a very bad hand. Alright, Key to the City, so we don't have to worry about dealing with anything yet. Passes back to us, and we finally hit a blue. Great. We'll play that and pass. If we don't need to do anything else, then we will Telling Time on our opponent's end phase. Pia Nalar. Probably going to crew up the Smuggler's Copter, which we will then Grasp of Darkness. Using the Grasp instead of the Harnessed Lightning, because Harnessed Lightning is more versatile. Pause, please. There we go. Don't want to let them get the attack in and get a loot. Right. We are making our land drops. However, we would very much like to draw a second blue source. We will pass. We got Harnessed Lightning and then Telling Time to hopefully help us find a blue source for next turn. Alright, we're going to let these hit us. They may have something to play that we would be much more interested in killing. Or they could just be pumping and using their mana, in which case we will go ahead and Harness Lightning Pia. Alright, taking 2. Looks like nothing further, so we'll Telling Time. Come on, blue source. Well, I mean, that is a blue source of sorts. So we will take the Aether Hub and take Telling Time. Then we will play the Aether Hub. And I think we're just going to resolve Jace here and start drawing cards. Scry and draw. Yeah, we'll keep that. That is going to fetch us an island. So that's good. Maybe a little bit slower than what we actually wanted, but we got there eventually. Pia and Kieran, that is a problem. And that would have been a good reason to keep up counter magic. But hindsight is 20/20, and so we do the best with what knowledge we have available. So in all likelihood, well, I was going to say they're going to take down our Jace next turn, but as it turns out, that is not going to be the case. Let's use our Aether Hub. Go ahead and languish this board away. We'll play our Evolving Wilds, and we want to use it first before we scry with Jace. That way we don't reshuffle whatever we put on the bottom back into our library if we do put something on the bottom. And we will scry and draw. Yeah, we are all about the Dark Intimations. And starting this next turn, we should be able to hold our mana up and just be ready to answer whatever comes, depending on what they do here. Exquisite Firecraft to our face or to Jace? To Jace. Alright. Well, every point that Jace soaks up is a point that our face didn't have to tank. So let's scry. Oath of Liliana. I'm going to bottom that one. Alrighty. We will play the Catacomb and pass. And now we feel like we're in a really good position. Another Firecraft. Do you have Spell Mastery? You do not, so let's counter that. Unless they have an instant to cast in response, we will continue. They could have had something instant to cast in response, which would have been given this Spell Mastery, and we wouldn't have been able to counter it, but that was not the case. Let's go ahead and scry. We're going to bottom that. We have enough lands in hand. Excellent. We don't have any real reason to be holding up counter magic now, so since we don't have it in our hand, go ahead and play Chandra. And we are going to take her up to exile. Alright, well, bye-bye Noxious Gearhulk, but it did do 2 damage to our opponent's face. And now we should just be able to bury our opponent in card advantage. Alright, there's another Pia and Kirin. That could pose a problem for us. And unfortunately we don't have an artifact out yet, so the Unlicensed Disintegration is just a murder in our hand at the moment. Might be best here to bounce a Thopter with Jace and kill Pia and Kirin with Chandra. That would leave them both at 2, and the Singleton Thopter would be unable to kill either of them. We could also have unlicensed disintegration available to help out, so let's do that. Going to bounce a Thopter, which disappears since it has nowhere to go, and we will do 3 damage to Pia and Kirin. They could sacrifice this in response and kill one of these, but they didn't, so that's fine. And then we'll pass. Alright, making more Thopters with their Foundry. Where is that 1 damage going? Who is the more important one to get off the table? Alright. We're just going to let that happen. Also going to telling time here. Well, I'm not thrilled about any of these, but we'll go ahead and take the Mountain and the Aether Hub. Not wanting to shuffle things back into our deck, so let's play the Aether Hub. And we will also reveal a card with Chandra. Yeah, let's go ahead and cast that on one of these. That's fine. And then Jace will scry for us. We'll leave that on top. And it's going to leave all of our stuff relatively low. We want to cast using the Aether Hubs, please. But I think it's correct here to play Ob Nixilis and kill another Thopter. Good deal. Alright. Looks like Nerd Ape has entered the battlefield. Not overly concerned about that. We're just planning on riding out our Planeswalkers here until we can finish the opponent off. And even should one die, it's no big deal as we have Dark Intimations to bring it back. Alright, again going after Chandra. Alright, our last disintegration. Let's go ahead and play the mountain. Let's tick up on Chandra. Glimmer of Genius. Yeah, let's cast that. Again, let's use our Aether Hubs for colorless, please. Is it not wanting to let me? Not really wanting to let me do it. Alright, well, fine. Do it that way. We have one Chandra out, so we can't actually cast this one, but it's always nice to have a backup, so we will take her. Then we will go ahead and bounce this Thopter. And we will tick up with Ob Nixilis. And Dynavolt Tower, that is what the doctor ordered. Why are you not letting me tap these? Just do it manually, I suppose. There, finally, it's not wanting to let me use my colorless mana. There we go. That's more like it. Alright, let's just go ahead and disintegrate this girl. Giving us enough energy to activate Dynavolt Tower, doing 3 to the opponent. And now this game should be over fairly quickly. Alright, looks like they're madnessing out a Bloodhall Priest. Again, not something we're overly concerned about at this point. And looks like that's it for them. We are going to deal 3 to their face. Harness Lightning, good deal. We are then going to Unlicensed Disintegration on this girl, dealing 3 more damage. And we are going to tick up Chandra. Kalitas. We are not going to cast Kalitas. Now that we've activated Chandra and got value, what we're going to do is cast the other Chandra. And we're going to choose to keep this Chandra. She's going to make us some elementals, and we're going to go for the win. Continue. And attack. Alright, looks like that is going through. Nope, Unlicensed Disintegration on that one, so we don't have the actual win here then. We could deal another 3 to them, putting them to 1. However, that's not really something I'm in the market for now. Looks like they also redirected to Ob Nixilis. We'll bottom that Oath and pass. And we should have them next turn. Hanging there when the Key to the City untapped to draw an extra card. And there's a Kalitas of their own. That will not honestly be relevant as we're going to kill it. Spend all that energy. And no use wasting time. Let's go ahead and make some elementals. And attack. And I think we should have time for one more game. I'll see you there. Okay. Yeah, I am very happy with this. We've got removal, we've got card selection, we've got a win condition. Bomat Courier. Well, here is a real test of our deck. Should be very aggressive if they're playing Bomat Courier. So I think we want to play Dragonskull Summit first. Yeah, we will do that. And we're probably just going to be killing things over the next few turns without a lot of room to breathe otherwise. Here comes the Courier again. If we can prevent them from drawing all the cards it exiles, that will be excellent for us. As is, it's not much of a clock on its own. Karizev, on the other hand, is quite a good clock. So I think we're going to be dealing with her. Let's go with the island. We'll deal the 3 damage there. Alright, looks like they are mono red. Either that or they haven't hit their second color yet. Alright, 3 damage. Not too much to be worried about. That and where Garrison is, however. It's going to be bad if we have to let them sack this and draw, because we're dealing with more threatening things. But that looks like it's just the way it's going to be, at least for now. And we don't want to really give them an opportunity to have something tricksy in hand. They could be playing green, drop a forest, and then have Blossoming Defense up, so that's why we killed it just on our turn. Looks like that's not the case, but always good to be aware of such things. Right, now they're going to have 4 cards under that Courier. And we're probably going to play the Wilds and fetch this turn for a mountain. So we have double of all of our other colors. Alright, Insolent Neonate, adding to the board presence. We wouldn't be at all sad either to draw Languish now. Not to be, though. Kind of makes me not want to play the Evolving Wilds. We're going to be able to play Jace either way, as our Sunken Hollow can come into play tapped due to the basics, so let's just play the Swamp and pass. That way we can harness Lightning and Telling Time. Alright. Opponent is making all their land drops. We're going to take this. See if we can catch them tapping out so we can kill that Courier. Doesn't seem to be going to happen. Collective Defiance, okay. How many modes? Alright, just for the damage? That's fine. Alright, let's Telling Time. There's quite a few good choices here. We want Kalitas for certain. And I think we want Dynavolt Tower as opposed to the Dark Intimations. Okay. So we don't have enough mana to play Kalitas and kill something at the same time. We also don't have any energy, so we can't harness lightning, spending 1 and then be able to Dynavolt Tower also. Not to mention they can just sack whatever we target and then we don't get the energy. So I think our best bet here is to play the tower to hopefully generate some more energy in the future. And then we are just going to pass back. Alright, there's the battlements. At this point, we are going to respond to them exiling a card and target that with Harness Lightning. That way, one card will be exiled for good no matter what, as it's not under the Bomat Courier yet. And they draw 5, which is bad for us, to be sure. Alright, and there is the additional exile that hadn't quite gotten there yet. And they have a Restock's Hand. Alright, nothing. That is interesting. Again, very debatable what we should do. Even if we bounce this, they have this out to give whatever they cast haste. So, we're going to Evolving Wilds and fetch. Going to fetch an island. So we already have our second red source now. And I guess we should at least make them deal with our Kalitas while threatening to gain life. Alright. Opponent seemed to be in the tank for quite a while there. Either that or they were away from their computer. Traitorous Instinct. Okay. Haven't seen many cards with that effect in a while. And Lathnu Hellion, and we are dead, friends. We are dead. Very, very, very dead. With exact damage, nonetheless. Good game, opponent. And I think that will do it for this episode of Friday Night Magic, friends. As always, deck lists will be in the description if you'd like to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like below. It really does help tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.